This is Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to Barbecue Central.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
That's right. Top men have made it possible for the second hour. You know what? You love it. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated. Reichland's rules. Live by them. In more than just your cooking environment. Boy, what? Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubes. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it succulent. That's going to be my newest t-shirt and logo. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it succulent. All right. See if this damn Skype works. Pain in the ass tonight. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around for the second hour. Huge audience still, like the second biggest audience, I think, in the history of the show. So thank you very much for everybody tuning in, whether you're doing Ustream and taking part in the live chat, kind of acting or reacting back and forth to other listeners, or if you're just listening on the radio side, always happy to have you aboard. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the way to get in touch with the show. And now we'll go ahead and race over to the phone and pick up the pitmaster of Iowa's own Smokey D's, Darren Warth, joining us back here on the show. What's up, clone?
Oh, just got home from the restaurant.
Big day?
Big day at the restaurant. Always a big day.
Always a big day at the restaurant. Darren Warth, pitmaster of Iowa Smokey D's, joining us here on the show. Darren, we look back over this past weekend, and you take part in the inaugural Sam's Club Series event. Obviously, a number of these going to be jumping off here over the last or the next couple months, culminating into this huge event. There's like $500 billion worth of payout dollars. Sam's really jumped on board the competition scene. So you were down, was it Gilbert, Arizona, I believe? Really nowhere near you. So was this one of those Darren Warth jump in a plane and rock star in and win the whole thing and leave in the cover of darkness, or how did it go down?
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. We hopped on a plane. This time, we really didn't have to borrow cookers. We actually had a roadie that took a trailer of his out that we were able to cook on.
Who gets credit for the cookers this time?
The infamous Jumpin' Jim.
Wow, Jumpin' Jim. All right, so I mean, we can start with how the contest went, but I'm not as interested as I am with the fact that you really fly into a lot of places. You're not really using your own cookers like a lot of other people that are really hitting the roads, putting miles on their trucks and pulling cookers behind them in some form or fashion. Is it really just a testament to you being able to cook a quality and consistent product? Does it take you time to learn how to cook on a bunch of different cookers? Are you practicing all the time on different cookers? Where does the consistency come from when you know you're not going to be using the same pit weekend in and weekend out?
I'm not sure that I'm not practicing at all. I practice a contest. But, it really, to me, doesn't matter what the cooker is. It's just a matter of being able to maintain the consistent temperature and then doing what you need to do.
What kind of a cooker did you cook on this weekend, for instance?
Well, it was actually it was a knockoff. It was a homemade cooker that was it was similar to an old Hickory fixed shelf unit. Jim actually had it custom built, so it had an offset firebox, looked more of it like a commercial pit. offset. We burned charcoal in the charcoal basket with some wood, and then it was a fixed shelf unit. It had lots of space on it. It worked out great.
Darren Warth joining us here on the show. What's the weirdest cooker or the oddest cooker that you've had to rockstar in on and do it?
Actually, when we went down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a couple of years ago, Craig from Firehouse Barbecue, I asked him if he could set me up with some cookers, and he set me up with a WSM and then a cheap little, I think it was a char grill chicken cooker that was, he had bought at Menards, the one that actually had or Home Depot, the one that had the roll-up shelves on both sides so they could go up and down with the fire.
Wow.
That was probably the weirdest one. We cooked chicken on that day. First time I had ever cooked on it, and we ended up actually winning chicken that day. So he wouldn't give me the cooker; he took it home. But
nice guy. Never mind. So we go to Gilbert and take part in this Sam's Club Series event. As a whole, before we get into the event itself, you excited to see Sam's Club step up in this kind of a way in regards to competition barbecue?
Oh, yeah. And like everybody says, and like Ray was talking about on the earlier segment, it's total about more exposure and coming on. And, Sam's Club, it was right for them to step up. Think of all the thousands and tens and thousands, $100,000s of dollars that get spent at Sam's Club every week by cookers. We bought a lot of our competition meats at Sam's Club. We bought a lot of our foil pans and foil and all that stuff has really come from Sam's Club. So it's nice to kind of see them give back and try and create a real national championship.
How did the event go for you last week? Anything out of the ordinary that you had to contend with, or is it just kind of same thing, just different city?
Oh, different city, except for, we fly down. The whole reason we planned was, we'll plane. It's April in Iowa. It's going to be crappy. We'll go down to Arizona to some nice weather. Really, did we find out that it was 20 degrees colder in Arizona on the day of the contest. We were pretty much in 45 degrees and rain with wind. So there was some adversity down there. It wasn't a real pleasant atmosphere as far as the weather, but everything else, you're out in the Sam's Club parking lot. Everything, it was very well run. It was very well organized. There was a lot of thought put into it. Troy Black and Kevin from MMA, they did a really nice job of coordinating. And also we had Mike Lake out there as kind of the event director, so we knew everything was going to go smooth.
Nothing out of the ordinary that you had to contend with other than the fact that it was just kind of crappy weather, nobody trying to put your fire out in the middle of the night or steal briskets or anything like that?
No, nothing that we heard of. A few flying easy ups from time to time, but the good thing about being in a Sam's Club is, you can just walk inside and buy another one.
Now, absolutely, it couldn't be a better place to have that happen. So when you're flying in and you set up the game plan, do you think, are you going in, when you're going into any competition, because you're having to put up airfare and, buy meat wherever you're going to be at, you probably have some different kind of travel expenses than most of the other teams have because of how you compete a lot of the time. But are you going into every event planning on winning? Is that your mentality, or do you go in hoping to perform well, and if you happen to win, it's just kind of cream on the coffee?
Yeah, it's kind of cream on the coffee. I really don't pay much attention to expenses. If you talk to me anywhere along the road, I'm totally about trophies. I really wasn't so excited about the Sam's Club until I walked up on Saturday morning and seen the big, huge bowling trophies. That's what gets me excited about competition barbecue. You talk to my wife, she's all about the money. She's counting the expenses and saving the receipts and all that sort of thing. But for me, it's really all about the trophies. That's what gets me excited. If you win trophies, the money will come.
So 6-foot trophy is better than $6,000-$7,000 check?
Every single day.
We're talking with Darren Warth from Iowa Smoky D's. And, of course, you can go ahead and eat in his how many restaurants do you have now, Darren? Is it 2?
We've got 3 now.
Oh, 3?
We just opened in September. We just opened a 10,000 square foot restaurant, bar, banquet room, and patio.
Wow. And plus you have the catering too, right?
Oh, yeah. Plus we've got a huge catering business from time to time. It's actually our 4th restaurant. We opened up a little carryout when we first started 3.5 years ago, and we actually just shut that carryout down and moved it up the street last September.
All right, so winning the event in Arizona this past weekend obviously qualifies you to continue to move up and chase that what is now elusive championship. You're going next stop to Las Vegas?
Las Vegas. Here we come.
And when is that going to take place?
The first weekend in May.
All right, so just a few short weeks from now. How are you feeling going into that? Same thing? Is it a little bit more of like an adrenaline rush for you because it's maybe a little bit more important because you're now one step closer to getting that trophy in check?
I'm not sure it's so much of an adrenaline rush. We're just looking forward to going out and being able to cook and moving on to the next level. There's going to be a lot of tough teams. We had a lot of tough teams that we competed against in Gilbert. We had Harry Sue from Slap Your Daddy, Vince from Rhythm and Q is just out of this world good all the time.
Yep.
Otis and the Bird, a lot of good teams out there on the West Coast, and we're going to see a lot of those. McFrank and Boo and those, plus a lot of all the other things. I'm sure we're going to see our good friend from Rod Gray, from Pellet Envy, as he goes to Loveland, Colorado in a few weeks.
Are you finding that the West Coast cookers are becoming, I don't want to say better, but more recognized as far as how accomplished they're becoming in regards to competition barbecue? Are their flavor profiles becoming a little bit more accepted? Or are you still West enough where that's going to be more the norm than the exception?
Well, what I found is, it doesn't matter where we've cooked. I don't change a thing, no matter whether we're going into Florida, into Arizona, wherever. We've always said, you good, consistent barbecue, and it tastes good. Now, I tell you, I had some other, we had the people across from us were from Left Coast Q, and I tell you what, you talk about a rookie team out there that is going to win some money. They were just, they brought me over their brisket, and I tasted it, and I said, it was just unbelievably the best brisket I had ever tasted in my life.
Wow.
Now, of course, you know how judging works. That was a 16th place brisket for them, and I was just as disappointed as they were. But I think they are becoming the whole West Coast. There used to be 2 or 3 or 4 teams out there that, consistently are at the top and still are. You're starting to see that spread out. In the Midwest, we're used to seeing 20 or 30 teams every single weekend that, have a potential and have won multiple championships. So I think their level is coming up.
You said something that kind of strikes a little chord with me. Not that I'm a competitor by any stretch of the imagination, but if people are bringing you over pieces of their turn-in barbecue and you think it's outstanding and you see it finish 16th, what does that say to the judging? Is there something wrong? Is there something flawed with the way the judging is going and how it is being evaluated, or this is just going to be what it is and you accept it and you move on?
Well, you really have to accept that and move on. I mean, theirs was a different type of barbecue. I'm used to cooking a lot sweeter barbecue. Maybe that's why it was so good, because it didn't taste like my barbecue. But it was just different. But you got to just kind of let that slide. When things happen and you get that last place finish, you don't change anything. You just kind of keep on cooking. Now, I think we are getting a lot more experienced judge out there. And we're starting to get a lot more judgmental judge out there, where they're starting to look for, they didn't put the money muscle in there, so I'm going to score that down. Or they didn't do this, so I'm going to score it down. I think we're starting to see a lot of that, where instead of back to the rules of, hey, you judge what's presented of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that definitely goes against exactly probably what you're taught when you first go into judging. Any way to get around that or to avoid that from happening?
I don't know. I think just KCBS, I think they just have to, when they get the judges in there, they kind of got to pound that in their head is, hey, you're going to judge what's put before you. We were going to take some chances out there. We had talked about just turning in a whole total box of burn ends, because our burn ends all the time just seem to be great. Sometimes the brisket slices aren't, and I sometimes worry that maybe the brisket box gets judged down because the slices maybe aren't as good as the burn ends. So we kind of went out to Arizona and said, wow, what if we do this? What if we put in a full box full of burn ends, if they're just absolutely mouth-watering, tender, everything? We kind of chickened out the last minute and went ahead and put slices in the box.
Is it because you